Welcome to From the Ashes, the Dungeon Crawler Network podcast all about Ashes of Creation by Intrepid Studios. Bear witness to the rebirth of the MMORPG genre from the ashes of an industry that has left the gamers behind. I'm Aggelos, founder of the Dungeon Crawler Network, and I am coming to you live from the Mighty Beard Tavern with my amazing co-host. We got Storm's Lord. How are you?
Doing awesome this week. Doing awesome.
Excellent. We also got Crowjack.
Hi. How's it going?
And Alpha Soul.
Let's get this started, man.
All right. People are kind of anxious because testing is supposed to start fairly soon. So, we got to get the show rolling so people can jump in and do some testing. We got a fun show planned for you guys. Literally, 3 hours ago, if that, we had a live stream from Intrepid Studios that went over a whole bunch of juicy details, which we are going to discuss it here and now in the tavern. We also are going to be talking about some of the latest testing, or lack thereof in some cases. And it's going to be a lot of fun. But before we do that, got to give a shout out to our newest patron, Eric D. Thank you so much supporting us over at patreon.com/Dungeon Crawler Network, where people are helping us keep the metaphorical torches lit and the beer flowing, even though we never seem to have any when we're in this tavern. It's really time for us to move. Yeah.
I agree.
I agree.
All right, let's go ahead and just jump right. Oh, no. Actually, I forgot. Because guess what? I didn't do it last week because I couldn't find it and I was stupid. This week, I actually did a little bit of research ahead of time and found our iTunes review that was missing.
Ooh.
Yeah. We actually had our 50th 5-star review on iTunes from Dregan _. It's a great podcast. Your podcast really helps build my personal level of hype for this game. Can't wait to play it with and maybe even against all of you. Cheers. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. We are going to be working on a giveaway because we hit 50 5-star reviews on iTunes. So stay tuned for that. We just got to get our logistics in on how we're going to be doing that, what we're going to be giving away. It'll obviously be something Ashes of Creation related. Maybe, for those Canadians, they may get a t-shirt shipped to them because maybe I'll ship to them even if the official store won't. Hear that, Crowjack? Yeah.
Yes. I heard that.
Co-hosts aren't eligible.
Oh, come on.
Oh, man.
Tease me
Bruno,
like
come
that.
on.
What?
Indeed. Now, we will talk about that. And, of course, it'll be open to anyone who listens to the show, even if the 50 reviews were on the U.S. store. So thank you so much, because iTunes reviews are one of the best ways that people can find us. Let us know that we're a real podcast, that we say real words. Sometimes they matter. All right, guys, now we're ready to jump into the show. First thing we're going to be talking about is the most recent batch of Alpha 1 testing. Who really wants to start on this one? Crowjack.
I'm going to pass this time.
Okay.
I'm passing. Someone else can do it.
Okay. All right.
Hey, no, we'll start. We'll talk about what particular part you want to talk about. The melee, the servers. We can talk about a lot of it.
Pick your favorite, and we'll start there, and we'll see where
Let's say the melee. I'll start there.
Right.
I do not feel the melee was tested very well. It was very soupy to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
It seems to have regressed.
Absolutely, that's a good word for it. It seems like it's going back the way it was headed.
I wonder if that's because they mentioned changing the melee system, and because they made this change, this tweak to it, that they have to get everything optimized once again and go through the whole process again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which makes me very worried when they say things like, well, we're going to, we'll use this anti-cheat system for now, and then we'll put our own in. Well, okay, you're going to give yourself double the work then.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And you're going to get the situation, we're going to test it, and then it's going to get worse. And you have to test it all over again. This is what happens. This is when you get people who go in and you code like that, which is a way of doing it. You got to prepare for that double work.
Yeah.
The anti-cheat system, I know they pretty much said that they did not want to just throw random third-party code in, which never. I don't really want to get into. Go ahead.
You're big in the whole thing. You're right. Just begging to talk about it because these people who are they the experts at it? I don't know. I've never heard of that cheat system, but maybe they're the experts in the field. Why would you not want to bring in their code to use as opposed to writing your own if you're not the expert at it? I am not the expert coding at particular things. I pick up pieces that are and I use them. But I write the stuff I'm best at. Just thought.
Because I know a lot of the concern, and this actually happened in the Q&As that happened, people are really starting to bring up the cheat systems with speed hacks as well as auto-aim bots, especially within, well, we'll be getting to it a little later, but with Apocalypse coming out as a free-to-play title, there's really no restriction to prevent people from just going nuts and cheating like crazy.
So unless you're going to hire a team just to do that, why wouldn't you bring in a system that's already built to do that?
Yeah, outsource the issue if you can't do the manpower yourself.
I mean, again, it's their choice. I just have seen this many times in my own work, right, where this choice was made, and why was that made? It just doesn't make sense to me to do it that way.
I'm not sure why they're trying to make their own code for a lot of stuff, because there was another game that did this. It was... Hold on. Camelot Unchained. There we go. Camelot Unchained decided they were going to do their own, I think it was their own engine, is what they started with. And eventually they were like, nope, this isn't going to work anymore. And it pushed them back like 6 years, I think.
That's a choice you make, right? And no matter what industry you're in, whether it's games or business or whatever, you have this choice to make, build or buy. If you're the expert in the field, build it.
Right.
If you're not, buy it and integrate it in.
Right. I see some questions in chat. I know we haven't even got to the Apocalypse part yet, but yes, I have no idea. Myro, Horace, whatever. It's capital letters, lowercase letters, all over the place. Yes, when Apocalypse comes out, it is free to play. You don't need a package to play it. So there you go. A little bit of news right there.
Yep.
So the most recent testing, I only got like 2 days worth of time to actually play it. I'll go with mine. I can't remember the date. I really can't, but it was like day one that they brought up the first test. It was like 2 days worth of testing they were going to do. And I would love to say that the melee was off. I wouldn't know, because essentially what was happening, we did three games. 3 games is what we got in before the server crashed and burned. Of those 3 games, the very first one we got on the Griffin, everyone made it on the Griffin and started heading down. The server crashed before anyone hit the ground. Like, it just did not come back up. The second game is where I started to notice a little bit of an issue. I was running with one of the people who were watching us live that day. It was really cool. Zivkin, I think was his name. And we were running. We found somebody, they hit the ground, and we were starting to attack them. And it didn't look like they were taking damage at all. And then all of a sudden, all the damage hit. In fact, even I died right after that, because I'm standing there at full health, and all of a sudden I'm on the ground and all the numbers appear. There was like a good 5 or 6 second delay before any damage was calculated, and then boom, that server went down. And oh, go ahead,
man. No, I was going to say that error that you're describing, we saw very, very early on in the testing, and then it was gone. So it was like that was reintroduced into the ecosphere, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys are luckier than me. Lucky but unlucky. I guess I'm fortunate that I dodged the weekend testing, because I was trying to download the game the entire time. For, I think, 3 different testing periods, I was trying to get the game downloaded and installed, and I failed. Finally, Steven stepped in, helped me out, helped me get everything figured out. Once I finally tested, I believe I did it yesterday. It didn't feel as bad. Melee felt more responsive to me yesterday. I'm not sure. Alpha Soul, you and I played a game together. My God, Storm's Lord, you're in that game too. Melee felt better. I was hitting things more often. And FPS felt better as well, as opposed to like 3 or 4 weeks ago when I last tested it. FPS in the game felt a bit better as well. That's what I've noticed. What do you guys think? Did you notice a better FPS latency issue?
So the FPS... Oh, go ahead. Good.
Yeah, not
No, I'd agree.
Yeah.
FPS.
Yeah. FPS was better. FPS was better. The thing that still did just not feel well to me was it's hard to describe, but it's almost like our characters were at some points jerking around. So it made it so that it was very difficult for me. Like before, normally in all my testing, my favorite weapon is the wand. It is everyone's favorite weapon, right?
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you go around and it's like a machine gun. You hit people with it, but I couldn't use it for this past testing because it was so jerky, and so it was kind of like I was trying to hit someone, I was trying to line it up, and then they would just kind of, switch to the side, switch.
I didn't experience that. That's interesting. 'Cause
Yeah.
we were in the same. I never experienced that in the same match that you were in. That's fascinating.
Yeah. So that's why I actually, while we were there, I flipped out and just switched to the grimoire because you don't need to aim with that thing. You just-
Well,
just-
the general vicinity. I think you're gonna be over there somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a big there.
I will say this. I don't know if what limited time I got to test, because I tested one of the very first times. I really didn't get a chance the later times because everything was before I was able to get on. That's just how it was.
Yeah.
Real life got in the way. I think last night I logged on I'm in there. I hit Q, and some of the Hands of Fate guildies, we were all in our Discord chatting away. And they're like, oh, yeah, that was the last game, so whoever wins. I'm like, well, nope, just close everything down because there's nothing for me to do. Does anyone feel like they actually added projectiles to the bows and it's not just hit scan anymore?
Okay, so I have a humongous debate with me and my audience regarding this. I swear to God, sometimes I'm playing with the bows, whether it's the Nightfall, which is a short bow, or the long bow. Sometimes I swear they're projectile, and sometimes I'm shooting it so perfectly and it responds and it feels like hit scan. I can't make up my mind one way or another whether they're projectiles or hit scans. I would love an official answer from the devs and an official wiki that says this projectile, this hit scan. I'm itching for that information.
Well, and see, that's just it. I know very early on the bows, despite the fact that they argued that they were projectile, I call BS on it. I'm like, if I could take the crossbow and shoot this guy all the way across, like literally turn your rendering down so you couldn't see any trees and hit people. If you can hit them all the way across the farthest level of detail you can get and it registers immediately, that's not projectile.
Yeah.
Not unless it's like a Brett 50 cal, sniper
Yeah, like a
rifle.
laser beam kind of speed.
Yeah, that's not happening with a bow. But I did notice that I was trying to shoot people from far away like it before because it was hit scan, even though they said it wasn't. Again, I call BS. And it was missing. So I feel like there was a drop, or it could have just been latency. I'm not even sure at this
Exactly.
point.
Is it hit scan, but we're encountering server-side latency or client-side latency? I don't know. That's a very good question.
I actually think that's the case. I think it's hit scan and we're just lagged, basically, or client-side latency, because there were a couple times where I hit people, I use that in air quotes, and my reticule was not on them, at least at that moment. Like I had shot at the spot that they were, like the second that my mouse hit it, but they were no longer there, and it registered the hit as they were over there.
Well,
so
we had that rubber banding too, right? So I was watching you run, and you'd like shoot forward, then you'd shoot back. So it was definitely some latency going on.
So we'll never know.
No, probably not. But it
not until the servers are really, really steady and we get some like quasi pro level gamers who can say, "Oh no, that's not hit scan," because they know what hit scan is. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, and I wish I could. I just know in the earlier testing when it was a little bit more steady, the fact you could literally just turn your level of detail down and hit people.
I'm gonna try that.
Insane. Well, they fixed that now because that was something we immediately complained about. It's like,
by the way, Steven,
no, if you turned it all the way down, nothing would render. Like, so people hiding behind bushes were just standing in the middle of a field.
Or rocks, they were just standing there basically.
Yeah, so you could tell where people were if they were hiding behind rocks because they were there. If you would shoot, they wouldn't register damage. You're like, there must be a rock there, but I'll sneak around the way they're not facing, There was a lot of stuff you could do, and
so we see how Ag plays.
To be fair, to be 100% fair, that wasn't me who found that out. It was someone else on the cast, 2 over from me, smiling up a storm.
I can't not force myself to smile.
It's not cheating. It's clever use of game mechanics.
That's it.
Changing
the conditions of the test.
Yeah, so to be fair, like it wasn't like I was trying to exploit it. I actually fully documented it as a bug and submitted to them just because I had actually it was started off by when Aggelos and I were testing at the same time and we got sniped basically from what seemed like freaking 5 miles away and we're like, how the heck could that possibly happen? And then it was kind of we went down the range of figuring out it was the slider for rendering.
Yeah, because it was like, because when you get killed by somebody, you take over their perspective. So we die, and all of a sudden we're in their. It's like, how did this person even see me with how far away they were?
I don't think that's a good feature in a battle royale. Because I was easily, when somebody got me and Alpha was still going, I could tell Alpha where that guy was and where he was going. Alpha didn't see him. I could tell him.
Yeah. So, no, Alpha did actually report the error, and that's why I think they want. One of the things they fixed with it, but it was definitely. I still swear it was hits, and I know some people are bringing up like Overwatch and stuff like that with a really quick, projectile. But the distances in Overwatch with how they design their maps
is a medium to short range encounters. There's very, very few long range encounters in Overwatch.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like the distances that we were being hit if there was a projectile was nuts. Bigger. Yeah. It was literally like rifle shots at this point.
Well, no, the guy I killed the other day definitely was not. There was no lag. It was straight shot right at him. As soon as I hit it, he was down.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
Well, and see that when we were first playing it, I eventually was like giving up on the range. I'm like, I apparently suck at this. I'm just going back to melee because I was trying to lead shots thinking it was projectile.
Yeah.
And someone mentioned to me, don't lead shots, just put the crosshair directly over them. As soon as I did that, it started hitting each and every time. I'm like, this is hit scan.
Yeah. I wonder if the Nightfall bow, the short bow, is hit scan, but the bow of miasma, the long bow, is more of a projectile. Just from my experience in the last test, it felt like the Nightfall was hit scan and the big bow, the miasma one, was projectile. Again, we'll need more testing to wait and see. I think
that's
this weekend is more testing.
It is, and I used the short bow and hit that guy, so that could be. It could be different setups.
I believe at this point they're trying to do some weird stuff with melee, like I don't know, almost like it's projectile melee. And if there's
because before it was like a line and we were not hitting a darn thing. So then they made it into a cone hitbox, but we didn't know when the cone was activated. So what point in my swing animation does a cone check for a hit? We didn't know. So I wonder how they're doing it now.
So he did actually talk about it. I forgot where I heard about it, but he did say that everything right now, 100% is actually ranged. Even melee. Melee is a ranged thing. Okay. It's just on a really short timer where it's kind of like,
right in front of you.
Yeah, like fires off right there. So there actually is no technical melee combat in.
Yeah.
And the reason that they're doing it, he explained, was because because ranged combat is supposedly the most taxing as far as server back end, stress goes. And so they want to make everything ranged like that so that it's at its max stress, so that when they do go to melee and they have a true melee combat in, it stresses the server less, and then they're good to go, if you will.
But I guess what I want to know is when I swing that weapon horizontally, vertically, whatever, how long is my hitbox activated to be able to hit that hurt box? If the person's on my left-hand side of the corner and I'm swinging like this, am I going to be able to hit that person or not?
Probably
if the person's
not.
on my left and I do a vertical chop, am I going to hit that person or not? How big is the hitbox in front of me? How long is it there for? I have so many questions.
If they're doing projectile physics on melee weapons, that's probably why it feels so off right now.
Like you have an instant, the person has to be in that hitbox at that point. When is that point? Is it the beginning of a swing? Is it the end of a swing? Is it the middle of a swing?
But if they're also using projectile, they're not taking in arcs and cones as a thing. It's an immediate, like where your crosshair
it's a box is. Right here.
Yeah. So the animation is, it doesn't matter. You could be throwing the axe backwards and it would still be hitting the person.
I would imagine maybe the beginning of the animation, like whenever you click.
It would probably be at the second you click is when it's calculated if it's projectile, especially if it's a short projectile like that.
And we also can kind of test it on the very beginning lobby when you get in. The only problem is it's kind of tough to get the other weapons because it does register the hits as you're just running, when people get in and they're just running around whacking each other with whiffle.
That's a good point because you now have an audio cue and a visual blue burst cue when the hit is received. So you can probably test it pretty quickly by clicking and then figuring out, okay, facing the person, I click, when do I get my notification of a hit? What if I turn this way and I click? Like, what's the range on this? We might be able to test that.
Yeah, because I did test one point where I was purposely sliding my character to the side and trying to hit, and I was able to actually do it. It's interesting. Give it a shot.
It might be a bigger box than we think. A bigger hitbox.
Maybe.
Interesting. I'm gonna test it. I'm testing it. Curious.
And I see Tomo in chat. Apocalypse is action combat. It is not tab targeting. It's not the hybrid system either. So Apocalypse combat is not a 1-for-1 translation of what the MMO will be. So, yeah.
And we got further confirmation of that in the chat today that the two are completely divergent. In other words, once we get into the MMO portion, that combat will always be separate from the Apocalypse combat, which will always be action.
I know there was a Discord Q&A earlier, and one of the questions that was asked was, and I'll try to find it here, where they talked about speeding up the combat. And then the reason why you brought that up and you said about it was people were asking about speeding up the combat with regards to making it more fast-paced like Black Desert. But the answer was actually no, we're going to slow it up.
Yeah, the Battle Royale is pretty much the fastest you're going to see combat. When you're in a bunch of people and you're all swinging your swords and stuff, it feels a bit frenetic. That's the highest speed level that the MMORPG is probably ever going to experience. Yeah. What it's probably going to be is going to be slower, and that was the words of developers. The speed is going to be slower because it's going to be a hybrid system. You are going to have tab targeting. It is an MMORPG, a more traditional fantasy-based MMORPG. So, no, it will not be BDO's level of frenetic gameplay, the MMO.
Thank goodness for that.
That was good to hear. Yeah, I was actually taken aback when I first heard that because I was like, what, faster?
Yeah, I was surprised. I'm like, how do you want to get faster? The Battle Royale can feel at times absolutely chaotic.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And can you imagine doing it with, like, right now with Battle Royale, because of how the game type is, you generally aren't seeing more than maybe 5 people on your screen at a time. Very,
very rarely are you going to have a bunch of people. But Castle Siege in this action combat style with 200 people on the screen, I'm excited. I can't wait.
My poor computer's going to catch on fire.
Rest in peace, servers.
No, those servers are going to burn.
It's all going to burn. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on into the very next thing. We're going to talk about some of the December cosmetics that was released. These ones are kind of interesting. I actually kind of liked most of them.
I like them better than last month's.
Yes, I agree with that. I would agree with that. These, again, just as a preface for anyone who's not sure, these things are part of the pre-order store, so if you haven't bought a package yet, you can definitely do that, and these will be included. If you already have a package, you can actually buy them, one at a time, piecemeal.
A lot cheaper.
Yeah. A lot cheaper, generally, sort of. Sometimes.
Well, as opposed to dropping $350, you're dropping $25 for that skin.
Right. But again, that is only if you already dropped the 300 and some bucks. You don't have to do it again.
You have to buy in to keep on buying in.
Right.
To buy in more.
To buy in more. To buy in more. To buy in more. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, and some of these aren't even up here, so we don't even know the real names for these things. So I'm going to pull them up, and I'm going to tell you what I called them. So we got the first one up here, which is going to be the Cloak. So this is the Sansa Stark Cloak, just so you know.
Yep, that's the Sansa Stark Cloak.
100%.
Yeah. I actually really do. I like pretty much anything with fur on it because just the northerner in me, even though Crojack's further north than me.
I'm more north.
You
True
are.
North, strong and free.
You are, but it doesn't matter. I like.
I like the style of the cloak.
Hell yeah.
I actually don't like the fur on that.
I was gonna say I don't like the fur either.
But I actually like the fact that it kind of comes over your shoulders. Those are the type of cloaks I like. I've always hated these triangle cloaks that kind of go on your back, and
I think that's because from a clipping perspective, those are easier to design. Right, the little thin cape from clipping, right? Less things to worry about. Kind of like long hair on a character being a pain in the butt.
Right.
I love the little blue jewel that it acts as the clasp on the cloak. I think that's really cool. I also like how the developers talked about, what was it? A potential magical snow effect that could maybe follow you everywhere you walk. Steven keeps leaking these little in-game additional things that these cosmetics could do. Like last month we had the ship that he said, what if the ship, it'd be kind of cool, what if the ship could eat an enemy ship after you had sunk it, right? Steven keeps leaking these little things. And I wonder if they're actually going to be put into place in the MMORPG, such as the snow that follows you around everywhere you walk when you have this cloak on.
Right. Looks like we lost. Oh, there's Alpha Soul. He's back. All right, now I can sort of bring the cameras back, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, there we go. We're back. We're good. Whenever Alpha Soul leaves, it messes up the entire camera.
Sorry about that.
Yep.
It's all right. We'll just keep moving on. Anyway, the next thing we got is the... Hold on. Oh, do I already have it open? I think I already do. Oh, I do. That's why. All right. I'm sitting here going, well, why won't it open? And now I know why, because I already had the screen open. OBS. Anyway, it's the you-know-nothing Jon Snow outfit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's what we're going to call it for right now, because why wouldn't we?
What I like about this is it seems a lot simpler than a lot of the other cosmetic outfits and costumes we've seen up until now. It seems much more traditional. Like, you could see that making sense in a medieval fantasy kind of setup as opposed to a really high, crazy fantasy setup.
It's called more realistic.
Yeah, way more realistic. Less
absolutely.
crazy sci-fi fantasy, more traditional fantasy.
Right. And that appeals to me a lot. I definitely love this thing, so... Yeah, I like that a lot. I will probably end up getting that. More than likely. Next up, we've got the polar bear sled from the Golden Compass.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely Golden Compass, if anyone's not seen it before.
100%. You're being pulled around by polar bears. This is for caravans, right? A caravan reskin?
Yep. It's a caravan reskin.
So if I'm in the middle of a desert biome and I want my polar bears to go mush, can this happen?
Actually, it was really funny. I think it was brought up during the Q&A that they were thinking about making a snow type a snow like graphic around it, a visual effect regardless of where you are.
It's the magic snow.
Yeah, it's a magic sleigh. You have polar bears, you don't want them to sweat.
Seal clubbing attire. That's what I'm seeing in chat right now.
Good job, chat.
All I can think about is the episode of Futurama where after he's like, all right, work's over. Bender's like, all right, let's go clubbing. Grabs him. Let's go clubbing. Grabs a bait or a bat. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Anyway, so after we got that, we've got the... Well, we tried to discuss what this was. The owlbear thing?
It's technically an owlbear. We were talking earlier about a traditional fantasy owlbear. This is much more of a different interpretation of an owlbear. It looks very much like a snow owl, and a polar bear had a beautiful, weird baby. But it looks really cool.
That face freaks me out.
I know, there's something weird about the face.
I think it's because it's a snow owl face.
Where's the bottom half of its mouth?
Snow owls have a lot of feathers in front, so you can't... There's just a little black line that you can make out. That's its beak.
Of all the mounts that I've seen in the store so far, this one I'm probably most interested in, I think, because it is just so white and shining, and that is very much me. I find it really cool. I might pick this one up.
You know, what's actually funny is you say that, and I was talking with the guild about this earlier, because I picked the white griffin, because that's me as well, and then I'm sitting there. But then I'm sitting there in Battle Royale going, I stick out like a sore thumb. Like, people can see me.
Like a sore thumb. I don't mind.
Like, I wondered why everyone else had, like, the black griffin, and I'm, like, the only one flying around on a white one.
Because everyone's dark on the inside. Their lives are so hard, and they're so dark and hardened.
Probably.
No way. Give me the bright, white, shiny stuff. Let's go.
And finally, we've got the Let It Go house.
Right. Elsa's Palace.
Elsa's Palace, yep.
They described it like an auditorium, from what I remember from the live stream.
Yeah, yeah. Like it would have good acoustics, and bards love it because it has great light, acoustics, and...
This is for you, Bob. This is your bard's stage. It's happening.
Nope. Elsa
No,
already owns
you
it.
wouldn't perform in there. I'd perform in there. That'd be sweet.
You'd go blind.
Yeah, and until somebody like one of the opera singers hits that note that shatters glass, and the whole thing comes tumbling on top of you. Yeah.
There you go.
Of course, those.
Excellent way to start a guild raid.
Yeah, right. Just loud noises. Anyone who's listening to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, SoundCloud, or Spotify, there will be a link in the description below for when this goes live. I believe it goes live tomorrow, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the 7th of December.
Yep, describe tomorrow.
This will go live tomorrow. So you actually get to know what the real names are, but I'm always going to call this Elsa's Palace.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
And the Jon Snow skin, for sure.
the Jon Snow skin. I'm buying the Jon Snow skin. So
Yeah.
that just has to happen.
I want the owlbear.
The owlbear.
I want the owlbear.
Owlbear.
Oh, can we get to the goaticorn? Or the unigoat? Or whatever it's called?
We didn't get to the unigoat.
No, we did not do. Oh, that's what we're calling it now. Unigoat.
The unigoat.
So AOC tweeted this thing out, I think the other
Lambicorn.
day, and I responded to it, and I made a Twitter poll, and I say, what are we calling this thing? A unigoat or a goaticorn? And it's still raging right now. It's 50-50.
I'm trying to find the original image, and for whatever reason, I don't seem to have it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Which is a shame, and unfortunately, I can't really open up Discord because that will then mess up all the cameras. So,
Oh, so I can give it to you.
well, if you type it into the or throw it into the chat, I can bring it up for everybody. But yeah, this one was actually teased out the other day in the public channels, if I remember correctly. There was actually a little bit of lore that went with it too. Does anyone have that available?
Not on me, no.
Alpha, pull that up in the.
Yeah, I can pull it up and just read it off from the Discord. Give me 1 second.
Okay. This one was kind of neat, though. It's neat in its design, but I'm not sure if I like it that much. Ah, there it is. Crowjack with
Got
the
you.
save. So I'm going to
I
go
got
ahead
you.
and pull this bad boy up and put it up here on the screen. So we'll grab the unigoat.
The goaticorn.
Okay, got it. It's called the Winter Nith. You want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Often mistaken for a baby unicorn by those newly arrived on Vera, Nith are their own unique species. They have a very long lifespan, but breed rarely. Seeing one is considered to be auspicious, and poaching one is inadvisable. Not only do they seem to have command of Vera's unusual mystic energies, making them a formidable foe, but their death can invoke a curse on those responsible, whether it be through trap or by bow.
Don't kill the goaticorn.
I see some narwhal chat. Only thing I even thought about with this was Harry Potter and the unicorns. We're going to have some Voldemort character over there, like, sucking the blood out of one of these unicorns.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Unigoats.
I see it. I was like, where is he going with this? I had no clue. But I got you now.
All necromancers will just be feeding off of them.
And that was last month's cosmetics, the necromancer set.
Yeah.
There you go.
I did like this one considerably more than last.
100%.
Yeah. Well, anyway. All right, let's go ahead and move into the final bit of news. And probably the biggest bit of news. Ashes of Creation Apocalypse, December 18th.
19? 18? 19?
It's
18?
18th, I believe.
18.
Oh, actually, you know what? I have the thing up here right now. I can even look at
18th.
it. 18th. Yeah.
18, there you go.
I took a snip of the final screen. Open beta starts December 18th.
And that is the Battle Royale with the Castle Siege testing for Alpha 1 backers to start end of December.
I don't believe that will actually be in at launch.
Oh, me
though.
neither.
No, yeah, that won't be in at launch. The Castle Siege will come later to this Apocalypse. Apocalypse at launch or at the start of this thing will just include the Battle Royale, it sounds like.
Gotcha.
And to clarify, that is open to everybody. You do not need to be a backer to test or to play the Battle Royale combat test, as I always call it, on the 18th. It's open to everyone. Register for an account.
Right. No, that's definitely going to be nice.
Do it now.
Do it now. Yeah. If you don't already have it up, then definitely do it now.
Yep.
I don't know if it's going to be ready.
Oh, who knows? Like, there's a good chance it could be delayed by a day or two. Like, I'm expecting it. I'm hopeful, but I'm expecting some delays.
I would feel a lot better about it if we didn't go through that last round of testing. The last round kind of, my confidence was getting higher and higher, and then all of a sudden we had that last round of testing, and then it went down. That's the first bit. The second bit is we haven't actually been 24/7 yet at all, right? So
That's correct.
Not without people hovering over the servers with buckets of water to put out the fires.
Exactly, right.
Now here's a question: when they do this, like, are they going to do this server in-house so they've already have the hardware ready to go and purchased? So is it going to be in a data center? Or are they going to actually have to put support staff on there now and therefore divert resources to make sure this thing still runs?
I don't know. It's a very good
What do we
question.
know about their hardware layout now?
All we know is that
If
they're using
anything.
cloud servicing.
Yes.
Like
That- that's
AWS. Not
that's
AWS, but like AWS.
I would tender a guess that it's going to be a cloud server, not in their office.
Wait. Didn't they say something about in the beginning of the stream moving into a new set of offices to spread their wings?
They've been
that have
talking about that
servers
for
in them?
months.
But they mentioned having servers in this new office.
Yes, they did. They did
They
specifically.
did mention that.
I actually think this is a good time to talk about one of the questions I highlighted. And there's a lot of questions from the December 6th, today's Q&A, because after the live stream, people were not very happy about this. Like, there was a lot of stuff going on. And we're going to go into some of the details about this in a minute, But I wanted to bring up this question. This was asked saying, so things feel closer to the EA mentality. However, testing is being shuffled to create Apocalypse. Is Apocalypse the focal point of the game now, since the core product is completely funded from the Kickstarter? And I'm going to read this verbatim. We can discuss it. Development of the core viable product is 100% there and done. The hiring of additional team members, etc., is taken care of. However, as we add a new additional testing phase, Apocalypse, when we address community concerns regarding combat and a number of players on the screen, we ended up having to move a lot of the testing earlier up the pipeline to test the server systems. Due to this, we have been forced to switch to high-end server hosting and a cloud backend so that we could do these large-scale testing earlier, going up to hundreds of thousands of players. As such, it makes sense to account for monetization strategy to account for the expensive testing phase. In addition to that, before we named it Apocalypse, there was a lot of confusion regarding the game being Battle Royale. Hence, it became important to distinguish the two. So we had to make a lot of assets and marketing to separate Apocalypse from the MMORPG so as to not give players the wrong idea. However, at the same time, everything feeds into the MMORPG, hence we decided to make Apocalypse a viable product on its own to provide data for the main game. This is important to provide a high-quality product. As such, it required a proper monetization method. Additionally, the monetization method is very friendly and has a lot of perks for all types of players. Once again, the MMORPG is on schedule, and they are meeting all their milestones.
Who wants to go first on that pile of information?
I'm going to let someone else because I just talked like crazy.
All right. Now, what do we want to discuss specifically from that giant thing of information? Because there's a lot there. What do we want to tackle first?
All right. Well, let's do this first. So Apocalypse is coming out on the 18th. It is going to be a completely free-to-play option that will have both the Battle Royale, the Castle Sieges, and the Horde mode, which, by the way, there's something else. They talked about that being PvE only, not PvP at all. There was a lot of us assuming that the Horde mode would allow us to test the monster coins, which at this point, from this particular stream, we're not seeing that anymore. So we have those three items right there. There will be cosmetics that are purchasable. You will be able to buy embers. If your package contained embers, you'll be able to spend them within Apocalypse. And then all that stuff will transfer over into Ashes of Creation. So those are kind of the big bullet points on what this particular thing is. Now, I know a lot of the hate started coming from, I guess, monetization side of things. Let's start there.
So people are getting bent out of shape because they are offering an additional level of monetization in the Battle Royale, which is the equivalent of the Fortnite Battle Pass system. So playing the Battle Royale, you can play it for free. And there's about 20 to 21 cosmetics you can get for free by playing the Battle Royale that you can use for the MMORPG. But there's also another level up, $10 for the season pass of like 7 weeks of gameplay. And it gives you 51 more cosmetics that you can earn while participating in Apocalypse, not just the Battle Royale, but also the Castle Siege down the road and the Horde mode. And some people are upset that they're further monetizing this free thing. I see it as an opportunity to give me more cosmetics at an amazing bargain rate of $10 for 51 potential cosmetics.
I think
go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I want to throw the caveat out there. If you had a package that contained Alpha 1, that means any of the Kickstarter, not any, but any of the higher end Kickstarter, Summer Backer, or before it went away, the Intrepid pack, all of those seasons are free forever. You don't need a pass.
Yeah, so if you have Alpha 1 access, you have access to these battle passes, the Legendary Path, they called it, for free. If you have access to Alpha 1, Alpha 2, Beta 1, or Beta 2, you get access to the first season of this pass for free as a thank you for participating in this testing. I have no problem with them continuing to monetize their product, especially because it's a free product. The monetization is for cosmetics, and the cosmetics are just that, cosmetics that don't affect the actual gameplay of both the Battle Royale nor the MMO. You can choose to get those cosmetics, you can choose not to, just like you can choose to participate in purchasing cosmetics from the current store. It's a choice. You don't have to. And not getting a cosmetic will not affect your gameplay of the MMORPG down the road. That's how I feel regarding this whole additional monetization option. Is that an option? And a completely harmless one at that.
Skins are a thing that's kind of a sore button with me. And I will say, I don't like the whole idea of skins for everything. Because once upon a time, skins were something you earned for doing something awesome, not throwing your credit card down. Taking Apocalypse out of this, I don't really want to talk about it. Yeah, just given what they're saying, they're already having to jump into their cloud servicing server architecture, and that is expensive. I've looked into it for other projects. It is insanely expensive. It makes sense. They're going to have to, otherwise Apocalypse is just going to be bleeding money. Each and every month they're going to be bleeding. So let's take that out of it. I'm not fond of the cosmetics being a thing
as a concept.
As a concept,
whole, just not into cosmetics.
Yeah, that's where I come into it from. I don't like the fact that we're going to start seeing the store already. People have already complained that they're doing monthly cosmetics because collectors, people don't really care about cosmetics. Some people don't. Like, I remember... way back in the day playing World of Warcraft, Invincible dropped off of ICC 25 man. The tank didn't even, one of our tanks, he's like, I'm not even going to roll on it. And it's like, but it's the rarest mount in the game. He's like, I don't care. My horse does the same speed. It doesn't give me any extra benefit. Some people don't really care. There's a lot of people, and actually a friend of ours wrote an amazing article at one point called, what was it? I can't remember the title of it, but it was more or less making the argument that cosmetic hunting is an end game in and of itself, and the idea of pay to win could also be applied to cosmetics.
So pay to win within the world of cosmetic completion, of achievement completion, of owning them all.
Yep.
I see what you mean.
It's kind of like playing Pokemon or something like that, and you got to catch them all, or I could pay $5 and unlock all the ones that I want.
Yes and no. So Pokemon, we'll use that metaphor. The cosmetics is in the game of Pokemon. You can catch them all, no problem. But the cosmetics is that Pikachu's got a surfboard, though. It's the same Pikachu. Yeah. And you can only slap that Pikachu skin on a real Pikachu that you caught normally, but that cosmetic gives Pikachu a surfboard. That's awesome. I want that one. Oh, and that cosmetic gives Charizard a blue flame instead of a red one. Oh, that's awesome. So there are people who don't care about the surfboard or the blue flame, but there are people who do, and by having to do money as opposed to earning them in-game, that can be discouraging to people. I see what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
But it also depends on how you do it, though, because, we talked about this earlier with Black Desert Online, right? They gave you this bush tree-looking nonsense of an armor that almost forces you to buy, you don't want, if you don't want to look like shrubbery, then you can go ahead and you know, fork
if you're
over
into
25
PvP,
bucks.
you almost need it to look like shrubbery, though. But anyway, that's different. That ghillie suit, you know. Anyway.
So, for those of the people that did not like the concept of not being able to own every cosmetic, they were already kind of out of luck. The Kickstarters themselves had cosmetics exclusive to tiers. And the store has cosmetics exclusive to the exact month it was released. For example, if you miss Stufferton, you're never getting a Stufferton.
I hope everyone missed Stuffertons. But anyway.
I hope everyone missed Stufferton.
Well, and that was actually something that I complained about as well, because I hate the idea of time-limited cosmetics, because it's that fear of, and what Bob said, fear of missing out. It is a powerful marketing tool, because ESO does that all the time. And it is... I hate it because it is such a predatory tactic when they release a mount that's, or a mount skin essentially that's, you know, because again, ESO's, you know, while it's a mount, it all depends on your riding skill that you learn. So it's essentially a mount skin. It's no different than the other horse. But when they only put it, oh, by the way, this is only here for a weekend and it's like $80, you know, worth of stuff.
The FOMO is strong. Fear of missing out is strong.
It is. And there are people who have that major collective mentality. And I'm sure it's going to hurt. And actually, this is something I wanted to talk about because I don't really play Fortnite.
Yeah.
I don't care for Battle Royale games. I never cared for PUBG. I thought it was dumb from, you know, the beginning. But we were talking about seasons. The first season being Exodus is coming up. How in Fortnite does it work? Because like if you don't buy the pass and it goes away, you're out of luck. For those of us who get it, we said it was like a 50 level progression path.
Yep.
After the season's over, can we still continue that, I wonder?
So from what for how Fortnite works, and these guys, Trevin, might do the same way, or they might not. You can participate in the season, and as you level up in the season by playing the games, you unlock those slots for free. You just unlock them. You buy in level 49 band to get that cosmetic, level 50 band to get that cosmetic. If you don't reach the end of that path by the end of the season, you generally miss out on the remaining. That's how Fortnite works. I imagine that's how Intrepid's going to do it as well. So for those of us, I know many of us here are Kickstarter backers, who have access to this legendary path for free, we'd have to participate in Apocalypse, whether that's the Battle Royale, the Castle Siege, or the Horde mode, every season. If we look in the legendary path and go, oh man, at level 43, there's an amazing cosmetic that I want. You'll have to participate, get to that level, and unlock that cosmetic. And you probably lose the opportunity to get it later after the season's over.
Probably, unless they sell it in the store later.
Unless they say from day one, unless they sell it in the store.
You know, you laugh about that, but there's a game, Final Fantasy 14. They're a subscription MMO, but they do holiday events each and every year, and they add new stuff. But what happens is if you miss it that year, they're gone. But then they get added to the store later. So it's like, do you want those 2017 Christmas shoes? Well, guess what? Now you have to buy them in the store because you weren't there.
At least Overwatch, when they have Christmas cosmetics or Halloween cosmetics, you have to wait until the following year comes back to re-earn them again or unlock them again normally. But you have to wait the full year, as opposed to the middle of an off-season. It's Christmas item in the summer in the store for $20. They don't do that.
Right. Yeah, time limited wouldn't be such a problem if we knew it was coming back. ESO specifically doesn't do that. We have no idea. Insane. They release it, and they'll be like, hey, this is it. And there's been items that have been released in the store as time limited that have never come back.
Fortnite's been doing that. Fortnite has been cycling back. Like sometimes you'll see the Valentine Day things in the store. They cycle back every couple weeks.
With ESO, they have been cycling back, though.
No, not all the time.
Haven't yet. No, not all the time, but a large portion have gone either into the gems or back into the store.
Yeah, which requires you to buy more.
Again, I'm not saying I like it, but it's
a business model, right?
It is, right?
Yeah. Koshi brought up something too.
The model itself is not evil. It's just how they do it.
Yeah. SWTOR did it actually as well. Actually, that's probably the only reason why SWTOR is still alive, is how they do that monetization with cosmetics and everything like that. People spent an insane amount on that, and they were, I think, doing it before ESO and before, I mean, it's EA at this point. They've mastered doing these things. So
it's a successful model.
Is there a big MMO that doesn't have a cosmetic store right now? Nothing comes to mind.
No.
All the big ones, all the big horses.
Well, the only one I can even think about, which doesn't World of Warcraft has one.
It's very small.
But they only add something like every 6 months.
Yeah.
And
it's about, or a charity pet.
Yeah, and I think I somewhat give them a pass because whenever they release something like that, almost every item they've added to the store, it's been for charity of some type. You buy it, and they like donate all the proceeds.
But they don't need to.
They don't need to.
They're not financially forced to constantly add cosmetics to their store because their subscription base, for the majority of their existence, has been large enough where they're like, you know what, we don't have to flood the store with tons of cosmetics just to make ends meet.
No.
Yeah. Also, I saw something cool with World of Warcraft that I never knew existed until probably 2 weeks ago. Did you guys know that they have mount-offs?
Mount-offs, eh?
You might be asking, what is a mount-off? A mount-off is where they have a huge circle of like, I want to say like 200 players or something like that. And the goal is to match mounts. Like somebody will pull out, okay, here's this mount from the year 2014. It was only available then. And if you can't pull the mount out, then you're out of the circle. And they keep going down until the last two people.
It's like a battle, a throwdown for those who collect mounts.
Yes,
if you're
exactly.
a hardcore mount collector, this is like Fight Club for mount collectors.
Yes,
this is like
it is amazing. Just watch it.
But now we talked about it, so you know.
Yeah. It's, but it's cool because of the fact that WoW doesn't bring back those mounts that you can just purchase them, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at those players, you know that they put in that work to get those mounts.
Went and they did that old school dungeon 50 times to get that rare drop.
Exactly.
50. 150, 350.
Yeah, that's more like
it.
I still haven't found Baron Rivendare's mount from vanilla. I still haven't gotten Baron's stupid skeleton horse.
I got that one just the other time when I went. Every time I go back, like at the start of an expansion, I'll go back and they entice me to stay by getting I got Ashes of Alar the last time.
Oh, I've always wanted that one.
My wife hates me. When I got it, I was like,
Mine
I just got Ashes of... My wife literally threw something at me. She's like, I hate you so much right now.
I got that blue Ravenclaw mount first run, and my wife took about 80 runs to get that thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's good times. Good times.
Well, are we going to actually... That's a really weird side topic. Are we going to see that in Ashes of Creation? Will the raid bosses, any bosses, drop a 1% really cool looking mount? I wonder.
I think they actually did say some of that stuff will happen. I know that they're giving royalty mounts for people who own castles and are the leaders of nodes.
The flying mounts,
but they're temporary.
The raid bosses can drop flying mounts on a temporary. They mentioned like 2 or 3 week lifespan kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, it'd be as soon as you're dethroned, it's no longer a thing anymore.
Yes, that too. I try to explain that to hardcore fans who were getting very upset that mayors and castle owners got a dragon. I'm like, so long as they're an owner of the castle or a mayor. And guess what? Those castles are attached every month by guilds.
Yep.
Every month.
Yep. And I don't know how long the election process is, but if you're, whatever the process is to be elected.
Can I assassinate a mayor of Metropolis? I need this answer, Steven. If you're in the chat, let me know. Can I assassinate a mayor?
In Chronicles of Illyria, you could, but with no permanent death in this game, probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Though in the military node, it's supposed to be trial by combat to decide the mayor, so I'll be challenging a military node mayor as often as I can.
Indeed.
We're getting off topic.
No, it's sort of, but it's all good because we're kind of nearing the end of this one anyway. Really, the apocalypse is exciting to see. I'm really glad that we're starting to get to that point. They need to monetize it if they plan on keeping the server up. It is a free-to-play. It does copy over. I'm not really seeing a huge deal with it one way or the other. I just think it still provides a pretty bad light when it comes to MMOs because we still see this. Anytime people mention Apocalypse, all we hear is, I think one of the #1 rated comment on Massively, like with the most upvotes, was these scammers took your Kickstarter money and made a battle royale.
Real simple. 6 months from now, maybe 8 months from now, if we're testing the MMO and we can show people, they'll shut up quick.
Hopefully.
And I think that's the big thing. I am King White Knight when it comes to this game.
Yep.
However, right now I'm defending the Battle Royale. I'm defending Apocalypse. I'm like, you know what? Go for it. Do it. Get people into the system, whatever. However, if the testing period that we were given, which is the initial MMO testing, 25% of the map, 20 levels, Q2 of next year, if that bleeds into Q3 because they're not ready, we have this stupid Battle Royale to blame for that. Until then, I'm not going to get mad. I'm going to be cool. I'm going to enjoy the Battle Royale. I'm going to enjoy Apocalypse. If MMO testing gets pushed back, why didn't they focus on that and make sure that was done on time and put this stuff on the other stuff on the side, on the shelf? At that point, I will get mad. But until then, I'm pretty chill.
I have one final question to ask. We're going to dip into the mailbag. And this one was actually kind of brought up by one of the Hands of Fate Guild members, and this is fairly new overall. Epic, the makers of Unreal, are now doing their own game service engine, similar to Steam. One of the things that they're offering is only a 12% cut versus what Steam is at 30.
It's at 30?
Yeah, it's 30.
Yep.
70-30.
It's a big, it's a big cut.
Yeah, it's a huge cut.
Pretty massive. So,
it's kind of tiered, but it's only for bigger developers.
Yeah, but even those aren't. You're not getting 12% even for the big developers.
No, you're not getting 12%. No.
Yeah. So Epic is releasing their competitor to Steam, and they're offering a 12%. Epic and Unreal already are going to take a cut as part of using their engine. They get a cut of any sales from Ashes of Creation. Because they just do. That's how they.
That's the way it works.
I forget, what is it, like 2-3%? Is it
3%?
3%. Okay, 3% of any revenue you make is going
above a small number, but yes.
Yeah, above a small is going to Epic. Do you think that Ashes of Creation would be a good candidate to go on this? Because we already know they're not going on Steam. They said they're not doing Steam. That's 30% off their topic. Screw that.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And now you also got to remember, from an accounting perspective, they already have the referral system in place, so you're already losing 15% of most every dollar that comes in anyway to paying for referrals. So adding an additional 30 on top of that?
I wonder how many accounts will come through a referral. What percentage? Curious.
Oh, I'm curious, but I know there's quite a few people with a lot, quite a few. So I really do feel like with how this system really is placed, I think a lot of people are referrals, a lot of that. So you're all going to have the referral side on that. So they would want to limit that. But do you guys feel like Unreal's engine may be a way for Ashes to be highlighted?
The word highlight is the key. If Epic Games creates this launcher, this gaming ecosystem that can maybe even somewhat rival what Steam has accomplished, if they can do that, it could be a good way to give eyes on this game potential.
Yeah. Well, the other thing
that's a long stretch.
That's a long stretch. I was about to
started
comment on
a long time ago.
Yeah,
but if Steam has built up an equity, a community over the course of time, right? So are you just forking out a percentage off the top to Epic Games and not getting a whole lot of eyeballs in return because it's just so new? Right?
It could
or
be.
Is there a different deal for them?
Yeah, because they work something out.
He also mentioned today that we're actually getting a new launcher and a new whole patch distribution thing where that's going to be completely revamped and it'll be rolling out, I think, either this weekend or next week.
Yes.
And Manor in chat says, yes, that 12% does include the use of Unreal Engine, so that it's not 15, it's just 12.
Okay, so it is included.
Yeah, it is included. If you're on there, that's part of it. So it's really only like 9%.
They just need to run the numbers. Is this additional 9% cost off the top worth it? Oh, they will.
I see these people are running those now, right?
It would really depend. I really do think that this is going to put a crimp in Steam, because if Unreal's thing, well, let's face it, most gamers are now playing Fortnite, but if the Unreal data center, or whatever you want to call it, the platform, does offer a 12%, how many developers are just going to up and abandon Steam, take their games off of it, and move somewhere else? From the
perspective of Intrepid, do you try to get ahead of the curve and get on this new platform early, or do you just sit back, you watch how many people come to this new platform, you see how it grows, and then you make a decision? I wonder what they're going to do.
What does it get them other than eyeballs?
True. Are there perks? Or is there something else that being on their service provides?
Yeah, see, If you're using the Unreal Engine, maybe it does. Maybe there'll be a priority service you gain. Like, I don't know. I know a lot of places will offer support for their engines, but it's a tiered system how much you're willing to give. Maybe if you're on their platform, you have their platinum service or whatever. I mean, even where I work now at a bank, our core provider, they have different tiers of service that if you're willing to pay, you get after-hours support. If you're not, guess what? You're waiting till 8:30 in the morning when they open back up. So I thought it was a fun question. It got posted by Snack Pack in our chat, and I thought it was a really good question because I know Steven is against Steam. Again, it makes sense because, well,
30%.
Well, that's what Amazon pulls too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
very true.
It's not cheap. It is a lot of money to just get on those platforms. I just know that a lot of PC players won't even touch games unless they're on Steam.
I have to echo that. If a game is on any other platform than Steam, I groan. It's like, oh, if I download this new launcher, blah, 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 blah. That's actually very true.
I think MMO players are different, though.
You know.
We don't care.
Yeah.
MMO players don't care. They'll download the MMO specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, because, like, to me, if it's on Origin, I think about it twice.
I don't like Origin.
Pull it down.
I find it annoying.
Well,
I'll be honest.
My daughter plays Sims 4 all the time, so we have it anyways. But I like, I'd rather, like, what is it? The newest one that came out. She's like, I'm not sure if I want to do that.
And that's very true. Like, Steam is just so convenient, and like you said, it's built up this community. It's built up this equity in the PC gaming space. People trust Steam. People trust Steam games.
Yeah. Just since Half-Life 2.
Yeah. I avoid EA like the plague. Yes, there's a lot of people who share that sentiment as well. People who don't like EA games.
I have that. Forgot I had that even loaded. Forgot about it.
Yep, same here.
I mean, there's a lot of people who, when you look at these game companies, look at the reaction to my.com when it was announced here, like just because of who it was. Here in the States, if Intrepid said we're going with EA to publish,
woof, that would suck.
It would be a freak out.
Press F to pay respects right now. That's pretty much what everyone would be doing. That's why I see Boundnet. Maybe Activision will pick them up, and we could just throw that on there too.
Activision's buyout Intrepid.
Ashes of Creation on mobile. You all have phones, right? Anyway, that's going to be the end of this podcast. I want to thank all my amazing co-hosts. We got Stormslord Digital Piper Studios. Check him out. We got Crowjack, who's pretty much everywhere Crowjack. And, of course, Alpha Soul at Alpha _Soul for his YouTube channel. Check that out. And of course,
Alpha Soul.
Oh, just Alpha Soul now? Okay,
yeah, just Alpha Soul.
That's Twitter is the all _ then. And of course, myself, you can follow me, Aggelos, AGGELS _DCN. All that is in the link in the bottom of this show, so check that out. If you're interested in checking out our guild, Hands of Fate, check that out, handsoffateaoc.com. And, of course, you can follow everything we do over at DungeonCrawlerNetwork.com. You can find links to all of our social media, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. You can check out our Patreon program, patreon.com/DungeonCrawlerNetwork, if you want to help support the show. And by doing so, you gain access to our post shows as well as access to all of our podcasts early. So check that out as well. You can also leave a 5-star review on iTunes. That lets people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words. Sometimes they matter. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of From the Ashes, and we'll see you next time. See you later, everybody.